Live from downtown Detroit, home of WDIV and Click on Detroit, Local 4 News at 5 starts now.
Some say it's a matter of safety versus freedom. After a chaotic protest in Lansing, officials are talking about a ban on guns inside the State House.
Kids and coronavirus. At first, experts said it would have minimal impact on children, but now that's changing, and researchers are scrambling to get to the bottom of it.
Meat counters going bare in parts of Metro Detroit. Tonight, Help Me Hank working to find out which store is limiting which items. But we'll begin Local 4 News at 5 with the very latest numbers released this afternoon by the state.
Today, there are 447 new cases of COVID-19 being reported. Along with that, 44 Michiganders have died. The numbers are decreasing, but every loss is painful. Our top story tonight, concerns over a possible meat shortage have some fast food restaurants and stores making some changes. How
could this affect your next trip to the supermarket? Our consumer investigator Hank Winchester with us now. Hank, we are already seeing a shortage locally.
Devin, Kimberly, we are in some stores. This is already a big problem nationally, especially in South Carolina, Kentucky, and also in Louisiana. What we noticed here locally at Kroger, Costco, and Wendy's is a little bit of a shortage, but right now the good news is the product is still available. It's already starting a meat shortage that could affect where and when you can buy meat. Let's begin with fast food. Wendy's is already making changes, taking their signature hamburgers off the menu at select locations. A spokesperson saying, as you've likely heard, beef suppliers across North America are currently facing production challenges. Now, because of this, some of our menu items will be in short supply from time to time at some restaurants. Today at this Wendy's in Ferndale, no problem.
Hi, do you have hamburgers right now or not because of the shortage?
We do.
Now let's talk about Kroger. Here at this Kroger in Royal Oak, no problems at all. But you will notice new signage limiting the amount of meat you can buy. A Kroger spokesperson says, at Kroger, we feel good about our ability to maintain a broad assortment of meat and seafood for our customers. However, some processors are experiencing challenges. To ensure all customers have access to protein, we have added limits on pork, beef, and chicken. At Costco, shoppers are now limited to 3 items of pork, beef, or poultry. Back here live. So the good news in all of this is that making the rounds locally here, Wendy's, Kroger, Costco's, that we noticed a lot of product. What you will notice when you go into stores now is that you will see those signs like we saw at Kroger telling customers that they are only allowed to buy 2 or sometimes 3 meat products at a time. We're live here tonight. Hank Winchester. Help me, Hank.
Okay, Hank. The Detroit City Council unanimously passes the city's 2021 budget. At his coronavirus update, Mayor Duggan praised the council for cutting some $340 million from the budget while keeping essential services funded.
We are going to protect the retirees on their pensions. We are going to protect the police, fire, EMS services, and bus services. And we're going to have to take the cuts from the rest of the budget. We have a balanced budget. If this pandemic continues longer than the end of this year, we're going to have to make more cuts. If things ease earlier, we may be able to restore some things. But right now, we think we have a very conservative approach.
And Mayor Duggan says as part of the budget cuts, there will be no recreation programs this summer, and the city's demolition program will essentially stop. Well, it's been a busy day in Lansing when it comes to the virus.
Governor appeared on national television, received legal backing from her attorney general, and managed to pull out her veto pen as well. Rod Maloney here now to update not only that, but the impact last week's protests still having in the Capitol. A lot to talk about, Rod.
Yeah, we'll get to that in just a second, Devin, about the protests. But here's the deal. The attorney general made a ruling today which has the force of law that says the governor's state of emergency is legal in place, the stay-at-home order the same. Then the governor pulled out her veto pen and vetoed the bill that the legislature passed last week that would limit her authority under the emergency management. And now let's talk about the protesters. They are losing some support even on their side because of the intimidation factor. This was the Capitol rally last Thursday. Outside, gun-toting militia protesters joined the larger group wanting the governor to reopen the state's economy. The protest then spilled inside, and there at the head of the line confronting police was one of a number of armed protesters demanding to be allowed onto the House floor, and they never made it. On the Today Show today, The governor said of the rally,
they carried nooses and Confederate flags and swastikas. And yet, while we're focusing on they're open carrying automatic rifles, that is legal in Michigan. It is not advisable.
Despite the wide gulf between them, Senate Majority Leader Lee Shirkey said in a radio interview yesterday the armed protesters were intimidating and inappropriate.
But there was a handful of people, mostly guys, that were, I think, over the edge in terms of how they were attired, how they were carrying their weapons, their facial expressions, their body language.
I was disturbed by what I saw.
Another person taken aback was John Truscott, a Republican and vice chairman of the Michigan Capitol Commission, responsible for the Capitol building and its safety.
We would like to see some sort of maybe restraint in terms of what can be brought into the building, and carrying openly loaded rifles is probably not where we want to be at this point.
Now, the commission meets on Monday. He says their attorneys are telling them that they probably don't have jurisdiction, that it's up to the legislature, and the legislature's tonight saying that they don't think that they're going to change that anytime soon. We'll have to see where that goes. In the meantime, Michigan Open Carry is a group that was very upset with the governor's characterization of automatic weapons. They say that is a lie. They put out a press release. We have that on clickondetroit.com. Reporting live in Warren, Rod Maloney, Local 4.
Okay, Rod. President Trump, meanwhile, on the road again today with a visit to Phoenix to talk about reopening and the production of medical equipment. But this comes amid new warnings from health experts that cases are not dropping as much as expected. Alice Barr in Washington tonight, as there could be a rough path to recovery ahead. Alice?
Devin, President Trump seeking to lead by example today as he boarded Air Force One for the first time in weeks, a sign of a return to normalcy that he hopes businesses and customers across the country will follow. President Trump on his first cross-country trip today in more than a month, touring a mask-making factory in Phoenix. While leaving Washington, the president downplaying new models projecting a rebound in coronavirus cases as states reopen without meeting White House guidelines.
They're social distancing. They all know that. They're washing their hands a lot. But we have to get our country open. We have to open our country.
The model most often cited by the White House now nearly doubling its forecast, anticipating more than 134,000 Americans will die from coronavirus by August.
If they held people any longer with the shutdowns, and you're going to lose people that way too.
The former head of the FDA warning today this could be the new normal.
As we reopen the country against this backdrop where there are tens of thousands of cases a day, most likely scenario is that cases go up, not down.
As President Trump arrives in Phoenix, that city's mayor saying today she supports the White House reopening guidelines, including a 2-week reduction in cases before states open for business.
We do not currently meet the gating guidelines here in Phoenix.
A new Washington Post University of Maryland poll finds large majorities of Americans are uncomfortable going to restaurants and retail clothing stores and think they should stay closed. President Trump's next trip is expected to be to the battleground state of Ohio. In Washington, Alice Barr, Local 4.
On Wall Street, stocks closed higher as investors grew optimistic about the reopening of the economy, marking the second straight day of gains for the Dow, the S&P 500, and the NASDAQ, too. One of the most encouraging early pieces of information about the coronavirus was that it seemed to have little impact on children.
But we've learned since then that is not always the case. Dr. Frank McGeorge is here with the latest on new efforts to study COVID-19 in children. Doc?
Yeah, Devin and Kimberly, it's still thought that most kids with COVID-19 are either asymptomatic or have minor symptoms. But because of that, few children are being tested, so we really don't know how many are getting infected. There's also growing concern that some children are suffering rare but devastating complications, and now experts are trying to find answers.
A new study by the National Institutes of Health hopes to determine how the coronavirus is truly impacting kids.
We'd all like to know why children don't get as sick with the virus. Obviously, it's very fortunate that they don't, but it's fascinating that they don't, because it's quite unusual for respiratory viruses to spare young children like this.
Dr. Tina Hardert is leading the federal study, which will focus on 6,000 people from 2,000 American families.
Do they transmit infection as effectively as we see, certainly in adult populations? And that's definitely going to contribute to us having knowledge about whether we should reopen schools, summer camps, let children visit with their grandparents.
While children have been largely spared, there have been tragic exceptions, including 5-year-old Skylar, the daughter of 2 Detroit first responders. Skylar died from a rare brain complication. Now there's a new warning about another rare complication. It's being called pediatric multisystem inflammatory syndrome. Experts have identified about 115 cases worldwide. The child's immune system goes into overdrive, causing severe inflammation that affects the heart and other organs. That can send the body into a state of shock and cause organ failure. Symptoms to watch out for include a persistent fever, rash, red irritated eyes, abdominal pain, diarrhea, and vomiting.
Now, this syndrome appears to be a very rare complication in kids, and researchers hope to learn much more about it from reported cases in Europe and New York. But experts do want parents to be aware of the symptoms and call your pediatrician right away if you notice them in your child.
Is it clear, though, Doc, that the mysterious syndrome is definitely caused by COVID-19?
Well, no, that's just it. It's not. You know, some of the children have tested positive, but not all of them. But given the serious nature of this, doctors really want to get the word out there, especially at a time when, frankly, parents are reluctant to take their child to the hospital. This is something that needs attention fast.
Yeah,
Back
indeed.
to you.
Yep. Okay. Thanks, Doc.
All right, there's much more to come here on Local 4 News at 5. Here's Ben.
We tried to get some sunshine in here, Devin and Kim, but clouds won out today, and the cold air is going to win out by the end of the week. Will we still be setting records by Saturday and Sunday? We'll look at that next.
All right, Ben. Also, shots fired on the Southfield Freeway. Police have a pretty good bit of evidence to help them find the shooter. Victor.
We've seen it before, and we're seeing it now once again. More hospital layoffs, but this time it's a major one. I'll have that story coming up.